Hello again, I'm Doug Smith, and welcome to the 18 September 2015 edition of Portsmouth This Week, the voice of Portsmouth Town Hall. Our guest today is Detective Mike Morse from the Portsmouth Police Department, Cybercrimes Division, I guess. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is a fascinating topic. It's scary the more you look into it, but what is your role at the police department, per se?
So, currently I'm assigned to the Detective Division of the department. I've been a member of the Portsmouth Police Department for about 8.5 years. And I've been in detectives for 2.5. I have a lot of collateral duties, to name some: accident reconstruction, crisis negotiation, and I handle all the cybercrimes for the department. I also manage the Portsmouth Police website, Facebook, Twitter page, and I'm assigned to the Rhode Island State Police Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force.
Okay, so you're the closest thing we have to a tech guy in the police department, I guess, right?
I guess you could say that, yeah.
You know, we want to talk about cybercrimes. How would you define cybercrimes? It seems like such an amorphous thing.
It is, 2015, so technology is just ever evolving. It's getting better, it's getting stronger. We're just trying to keep up with it. It's everywhere. Nearly every crime that we come across nowadays involves the use of some kind of digital media, like cell phones, tablets, computers. To me, cybercrime is when that digital media are the tools used to facilitate a crime, such as harassment, threats, indecent solicitation of a child, and many other crimes.
Yeah, so it covers a lot of stuff, the scams,
Everything.
The phishing, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
What kind of training and experience do you have, do you bring to this task?
So I grew up with computers.
That's right, you're fairly young, right?
I was born in 1985.
You're just a kid. Yeah.
And when I was growing up, I was part of the America Online age, where if my mom or dad picked up the phone, I'd have to yell at them, hang up, or we're going to get booted off the internet.
Yeah.
But I always had a knack for understanding computers. I'm not a computer whiz. I understand them. I like to learn about them. And I think that Chief Lee and the other administrators kind of recognize that I have the capability of dealing with the technology. And in this day and age, I think every department needs somebody to kind of look at those crimes and handle them, because it's so important now. Like I said, almost every crime has technology involved some way. So the chief and the administrators kind of recognized I had that capability, and they signed me up for the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Through them, I've been, computer courses. They sent me to California for an Internet Investigative Techniques course. I've gone to Myrtle Beach for a forensics course. The state police has a lot of in-house trainings where I've learned how to do other types of forensics. I've also been to cybercrimes conferences that they hold every year in Norwood, Mass, which has a lot of trainings there as well.
Yeah. And I understand you're also going to Roger Williams on your spare time to...
I am. I'm going to be going after my master's degree for cybersecurity. I've already taken a networking course that's very interesting, and I'm taking up a C++ programming course right now.
Yeah. I guess the scary thing about this is it's not just that technology is changing, but kids starting at a very early age, as we were talking.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
I have a 2-year-old, and she already knows technology. It's kind of scary. I try to keep it all away from her because she really shouldn't be doing that. But if she gets a hold of my phone, she's swiping through all the apps. She's getting rid of it. She opens up the music, dances to the music. It's a blast, but I want to keep her a little, kind of away from it.
Yeah. Well, once it starts, it's hard to turn off because
it is.
There's so many uses for this stuff. And you're looking at the downside here. You mentioned the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force as kind of being a central thing here in Rhode Island. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, it's known as ICAC. It's run by the state police under their computer crimes unit. The task force is comprised of, I think it's 5 or 6 members of the state police detectives, lieutenant, sergeant, corporal. They also have 2 very intelligent civilian forensic analysts. They do a great job. There's a huge backlog. They keep very busy. And there's also numerous local police departments. Us, Portsmouth Police, we're a part of it. Coventry, Warwick, East Providence, Woonsocket, Pawtucket.
Are we the only one on the island, though?
We're the only one on Aquidneck Island. So any case that comes in kind of goes to me from this area.
So we're ahead of the curve here. That's great.
We are. We also have federal partners. There's a member, a special agent from the Homeland Security, also the U.S. Postal Investigative Service. And the task force was created to kind of help federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies combat these type of crimes, go after people exploiting children, and it's funded through the U.S. Justice Department.
Now, what do you all do? Do you monitor something, or can you give me an idea of what you guys do up there?
Yeah, so we handle any complaint that comes in from a calling party. If somebody calls and makes a complaint, we'll investigate that. We handle numerous complaints from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children through their cyber
Now, typically, what would the cybercrime be in a typical case?
Majority of the crimes that we see are child pornography cases, solicitation of children type cases.
Yeah, and so if you guys get called or tipped off about something, you'll look into it.
Oh yeah, we investigate it fully.
See, that's interesting, because then it takes somebody to notice something before you can even get into it, right?
Well, so
or are you scanning the net for this stuff?
Yes and no. We're very proactive. Child pornography, to me, it's what we're doing is always proactive, because we're trying to prevent, say, a pedophile, somebody sexually attracted to children, from taking that next step and making physical contact with the child. So it's all proactive. If we receive a complaint, we go after it that way. We also have undercover state police detectives that and task force members that conduct online stings. We track people through like peer-to-peer networking, stuff like that as well.
Now, there's another organization called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. What is that, and how does that differ, or does it not differ? Does it kind of connect with
well, it connects.
task force?
It is different. It's authorized by Congress, and they began in 1980s. They started from the Adam Walsh case, I believe. Remember Adam Walsh? His father was the America's Most Wanted host.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so it started from that case. His son was kidnapped.
Yeah.
All right, so they are authorized by Congress to assist law enforcement, families, victims. They provide education. They provide us tools to help us with our job as well. And in Portsmouth, anybody to connect with them can make a report through their cyber tip line right online. And then if that complaint is received, if it's found to be in Rhode Island, it'll go to the Rhode Island State Police Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force.
Okay.
And if it's found to be in this area, they'll assign that case to me.
Okay. Now, where is that housed? Is it part of the FBI or?
The ICAC is part of the state.
Not the ICAC, the task force.
The task force is based out of the state police barracks, their headquarters
Okay,
barracks
that's
in
our
North Situate.
task force. I guess I mean the
Right.
National Center. Excuse me.
Oh, for missing and exploited children? I don't know what state they're based out of, but they...
But they have their own organization and everything else.
Oh yeah, they're basically a clearinghouse for the nation's complaints about exploitation. They receive, so many complaints, and they'll distribute it by geolocation, or if it's a calling party, where it comes back to what state, and every state has a task force.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, you can't get away from this stuff.
You really can't. It is everywhere, and it's needed that there is a task force in every state.
One of the terms you mentioned in our earlier discussions and things was cellular device forensics.
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain that and maybe give people a sense of what do we mean by forensics?
And so cellular device forensics, like I said, I've been to trainings for it. It's the process of extracting data from a cell phone or a tablet. The idea is to be able to look at all of that data in that device without leaving what we call a digital footprint. The purpose of that is we want to obtain all that data without altering the device, altering the properties of it. That's basically so that a defense attorney can't turn around and say, hey, you altered the properties. How can you say my defendant put this item on his phone when the date and time says it happened when you had the phone?
Yeah.
So we basically want to make a mirror image of that device. And of course, yeah, we can obtain deleted data and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, a phone nowadays, it's a window into somebody's life. If you took my phone and you had access to everything, you would know about my family, my friends, my browser history, my email accounts.
Yeah.
You get everything. So
Do you have a personal Facebook account? Just out of curiosity.
I do.
Okay, so they could look
and I
up
keep
that
it
stuff too.
restricted, but
Yeah.
I should probably keep it a little more restricted.
Yeah, as we all should.
I got
I
to
guess.
practice what I preach, I guess.
Yeah. So essentially, you guys, maybe the process would work like people would complain to the National Center.
Yep.
They would forward it down, if it's in the Rhode Island area, they would forward it down to you guys up there at the center.
Correct.
At the task force.
Yep.
And then you try to find out where that computer is or who the person is, or do you know that? Do you have to find these things?
We have to investigate it.
Yeah.
And we go after, you know, stuff like IP addresses, email addresses, account usernames, stuff like that.
Okay.
Basic detective skills to go and try to identify who owns it and who we're going to go after, our target.
Okay, then what are the, you know, do you need a search warrant then to go in and actually
Yeah.
recover the device so you can?
Yep. Yeah, we execute a lot of search warrants with the task force. We're very active. And of course, we have to obtain a search warrant. You know, people have a right to their privacy through the Fourth Amendment, and we respect that. So we have to go through the proper legal channels and obtain search warrants. And when we do, we'll execute a search warrant, and we take our intelligent forensic analysts with us, and they'll do an analysis right there on scene.
Okay, so they go into the person's computer
Mm-hmm.
and try to find all this stuff and track
Correct.
it down.
Yep.
It sounds like a cumbersome process, but you have to start somewhere, I guess,
Yeah.
with this stuff. You know, this. What kind of tips? And this goes back to what you were saying about your 2-year-old.
Yeah.
What kind of tips can you give parents? Because you know kids are going to use it.
Yeah. So, you know, parents should obtain knowledge and be aware of what's actually going on with technology. Even if it's something that doesn't interest you, if you have children, they're going to be a part of it, so you have to become aware. And by becoming aware, I mean learn how to use the social media yourself. Go online, make an account. You don't have to be active with it, but go online, make an account, understand how it works. Because your children, they know more than you do about this stuff. So you need to learn and be familiar with it. You know, also look out for warning signs. If they're spending a lot of time online, if there's pornography on the computer, if they're a little withdrawn, if they're turning away their phone quickly or computer quickly, just kind of recognize that. And, you know, for the most part, parents, you pay for the device. So have an understanding with your child that once in a while you're going to look through it and you want to, you know, see what they have in there.
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable to,
I don't think so.
from a parent standpoint. Anyway.
I'd like to say that when my child's older, I'm going to be looking through her device.
Yeah, you'd like to say that. Yeah. What kind of cyber crimes do we typically see in Portsmouth?
Yeah, so
Or on the island
quite
here?
frankly, we see it all.
Really?
But yeah, we do. Most of the time it's cyber harassment. We get a lot of cyber harassment, cyber bullying.
Now, what would that be like? Somebody posting stuff about you that is
Well,
nasty?
you know, it's adults and children. It's just like that. Somebody posting something about you online that's nasty. Somebody using a phone to facilitate a crime to, you know, harass you. You know, and that again is adults and children. Bullying is really bad in the schools. And you know, to combat that, we just try to educate the kids. You know.
Yeah.
So, but we also we have had cases of child exploitation, unfortunately. You know, these things, they happen everywhere.
Yeah. Where I live over there in Pocasset Heights, and right behind me was where that young girl was. Actually, she had gone to meet this guy somewhere, and she
Right.
was gone missing for a couple days. So it does hit home. It's in every
It really
community.
is,
You know, and I think the wake up call for parents is this stuff is going on all around you,
Yeah.
and you really have to pay attention to what your kid's doing.
They do. They
You
have
know,
to.
and sometimes you have to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
You have to be a parent, not a friend, you know,
Yeah.
and that's tough for a lot of people these days. But it's almost too bad. But as far as things like scams and phishing stuff, I see that every day on my email and
Yeah.
on the internet and everything else. And I think because I'm aware of
Mm-hmm.
this stuff, I can say, "Nah, this is bogus."
And
You
it's
know,
great. Yeah.
Offering you something free, baloney. It doesn't work like
And that's how you have to be, because you just don't know nowadays. I mean, the the hackers, the criminals, they're getting better and better at this stuff.
Yeah, so it's looking more and more real.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of a problem. But speaking of phishing, one of the things, the more recent ones that I saw was one on EasyPass, where essentially they were sending out an email saying, you know, we think your account is in arrears, or there's some problem you didn't pay for. Can you send us your data?
Right.
So we can check it out. And that's been publicized. In fact, I think, as I say, I found out about that on your Portsmouth PD Facebook page. And I just tracked it down and saw an example of what the actual email looks like. And I guess the only thing that's interesting is you guys saw this somehow. You were either tipped off or whatever. And I just wondered, and I asked earlier, why don't the RITPA guys, the EasyPass people, when they see something like this, why don't they broadcast this to everybody that's on their list?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think they should be more proactive and send notification out to all their customers. EasyPass is a collection of the toll collecting agencies throughout the country. Rhode Island Turnpike Bridge Authority, they're the ones that manage it here in Rhode Island. And they have put announcements out on their page. And this is just to my understanding. They put their announcements out on their page to warn people, and they direct them to the FBI Cybercrimes unit. So when I see that stuff, Chief Lee will send me notifications sometimes. Major Peters will send me notifications. I'll find it myself. And if we do, we just try to keep people aware of what's going on, and we do that through our Portsmouth Police Facebook page, website, and Twitter.
Yeah, and that's very useful. I think everybody should sign, if they're on Facebook, definitely friend.
Yeah, like us on Facebook.
Yeah, like Portsmouth PD, because I see a lot of stuff out there that you don't see in the news even the next day about what the police department's doing. I just, it seems like a lot of the rules and things are skewed towards the banks and the other people, so they can figure out ways not to lose money on this stuff. But there just seems so many different kinds of these things, and it probably changes every day. I mentioned to you the Wikipedia. If you just go on Wikipedia or Google cybercrimes, go to Wikipedia, there's like 100 different kinds of scams. They're all national, different, slightly different.
I mean, you hear about it all the time now. If you just put on the news, presidential candidates, the current president, congressmen and senators from this state, they're all talking about cybersecurity. It's just the new thing. It's emerging. It's a good field to be in, because it's going to keep on happening.
It's a growth industry,
It
for
is
sure.
a big-time growth industry.
Yeah. And the thing is, that brings up another question that occurred to me is, what about our laws and the rules about this stuff that you guys have to follow? I mean, do we need more different kind of laws, or?
Well, most of those types of crimes, phishing, stuff like that, where they're putting malware on the computer, those criminals are way outside of our jurisdiction in Portsmouth, even the state. So that's why federal agencies, they'll handle those type of crimes. We'll handle the crimes, child exploitation, cyber harassment, stuff like that. We go by the state laws for that. They've had a new a law come out recently for online impersonation. So, so if you can't go online anymore and just make up a fake account pretending to be somebody else. So that's a new law. So I think there is an understanding, and they're trying to evolve with what's happening online.
Yeah. It's probably like trying to stamp out mosquitoes or something.
Exactly.
It's got to be very difficult to do. If you think, if I get an email, and I've had a couple where I know Cox has an email address that you can send suspected scams to. Yeah. And I've done this a couple of times, and I guess my problem is you get nothing in response. You don't get any answer. Right. You don't know, and again, it seems to me the kind of thing that businesses, any business that gets phished or scammed or something, should be turning that around. They need to be more proactive.
Yeah, you would think they
so
would,
other people would know about it. I mean, I happen to catch this. There are probably 20 other people that didn't and might have gotten sucked into this thing.
Yeah, I mean, they should absolutely be more proactive. It's almost like they have a responsibility to reach out to the people. Instead, they'll just post something and hope people find it. Phishing is happening every day. And phishing with the PH, for those who don't know. But it is like phishing. You know, they're trying to bait you into clicking on a hyperlink or an attachment, and when they do that, you know, malware, malicious software, they're infecting your computer with that, or they're just trying to get you to give them your information, and then you're pretty much subject to identity theft and other crimes.
Yeah, and I guess that's the glitch, because it just seems hard to even to know. Some of these things are obviously very realistic looking, and they're going to get more so as these people figure this stuff
just
out.
like that Easy Pass logo. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That email, it looks legitimate. And if you have a question, whether it's legitimate or not, contact the company that you know is legitimate. Call Easy Pass yourself and ask, hey, did this come from you? I think awareness is most important. You know, people have to educate themselves and be aware of what's going on. Don't click, do not open if you think it's suspicious.
Yeah. The IRS scam, I guess there's a bunch of different kinds, but that's been most recently, at least in the news. And I guess before that we had Social Security scams and other things like that, trying to get your data. The problem is, what happens is people, you know, individuals have to be proactive.
Right.
They have to go someplace. Where can people go to see what the latest scams are? You know, just
so most of those federal agencies put out scam notices. I check it constantly to see if there's anything affecting us in this area, and I'll post it myself. So the FBI website has scam notices. IRS does. The Federal Trade Commission, they're big on putting out the scam reports, and a lot of the scam reports that come into us will be forwarded to them. You know, if something happens to you here in Portsmouth, most agencies require a local police report to start the process. So you come to your local PD, Portsmouth, complete a matter of record report, putting it on record for that federal agency to investigate.
okay. Now, should people be calling you, for example, if they in Portsmouth?
If they've been victimized by a scam, if they've actually lost money, they should contact us, so we can put it on record and guide them on what to do. We provide scam resource forms. It just kind of has a list of websites that can help you out. You can find that on our website, portsmouthpoliceri.com. Also, the Facebook page. I always try to keep that updated with every new scam that's emerging.
Yeah, the Facebook page particularly is easy because it comes right. It's just it comes out to you. What if you just see that you're like this Cox thing, which kind of, when you looked at it, the address, the email address that it was sent from, it was Cox, but it really wasn't Cox because it was in Czech Republic or somewhere. You know.
So if you didn't actually lose
you haven't been
money,
scammed,
right? We still want to know. What I've been saying and what I want to reiterate is awareness. So if you know of a scam that's happened to you, maybe you're smart enough to not fall for it, let us know. We'll put it on record, and that way we can let everybody else in the community know. We can put it out there. You know, this is going around. This is what's happening. Watch out for it.
Okay, for example, then, could I email that email that I got to you guys, and just to say I think this is a scam?
Absolutely. I myself received mail one day from, it was phishing. It was a Southwest Airlines fake mail.
Yeah.
So I took that myself and I just posted it out there. So yeah, we do. We want to know. We want to be aware.
Now, it's interesting that the other communities don't have a cybercrimes person.
Yeah.
Why is that? I would think that this whole cybercrime area is one that has to be on the top of people's list, because it can affect everybody from the town hall all the way down to the individual.
Well, they very well may. I'm not 100% that they don't. You know, they may have officers
but none that you've run into, at least, right?
None that I've run into, and none other from the Quinnipiac Island area, Newport County, on the task force.
Yeah. How about like adjacent communities like Bristol, for example? You know if they have something like that?
Bristol did have somebody.
Okay. Yeah, because I would think people would want to be involved in this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Now, so the best websites, if people want to keep informed, one, they should like Facebook, your Facebook page, because you guys are turning it around.
Yeah.
And I would also suggest clicking on the link so you see the whole story.
Absolutely.
On Facebook. What are some other websites, though, that people could go to, like national websites?
Yeah, if they just Google IRS and go to their government website, or the FBI, I think the Federal Trade Commission is probably the best one. Also, the National White Collar Crime Center if you just look them up, they have a great website and they keep people informed as well.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is, it seems like also banks should be more involved in this stuff. I mean, they have legal ways of getting out from under the, putting the thing back on the patron. But it would seem to me that banks and these companies would want to take a more proactive.
I think they should. I'm not sure if they are. They may be right now. But I'm hoping that most of them recognize the ongoing problem and the emerging problem. And they probably do have some kind of cybersecurity experts working for them.
Yeah, but that could be true. I would suspect, though, that a lot of those are looking at scams directed against them as opposed to the ones against everybody else. That's just my speculation. I don't know. Maybe we need somebody from a bank to come in here and tell us what it is they do about this stuff. So basically, in closing here, we still got a couple minutes, but it's going to go quickly. What would you like? What else would you like to tell people? And again, I think the key people here are teens and parents.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that are probably more deeply involved in this stuff.
So I would say for the teens, recognize that using this technology to hurt others, it's just not right, and it affects people forever, for the rest of their lives.
And also there are legal issues with doing that, right? I mean, if you cyberbully somebody, it's a written...
If they're found in violation of any criminal law, we'll send them to family court. They'll have to answer to a judge for it and correct that issue. Adults need to be aware of what's going on. Learn how to use the social media, become familiar with it so that they can see what the children are up to, basically, because the children are only getting smarter. And with phishing and cyber crimes like that, be aware, don't click, don't open unless you know for sure it's coming from a legitimate source.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. It's so easy to just click. That's all you have to do is a mouse click.
Just don't go click, 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 click.
Exactly.
Have patience, look at it, make sure you know where it's coming from.
Well, I find myself doing that too frequently, too. But on the other hand, the other good news is I also blow things away pretty quickly, too. Yeah. And I can always resurrect them if I need them. I'd like to thank you for being on the show, and I applaud you for your work. I'd like you guys to keep it up, and I'd like to see more people interacting with you guys. So there's more of a let's get everybody in the community looking at this stuff, because it can be very dangerous for our kids and other people going forward. Yeah. There was someone in our neighborhood whose name I won't mention, who actually lost all of his money in one of those Nigerian bank scams. Yeah. And the thing is, you have to wonder, after all the publicity about these things over the years, that Nigerian bank scam has been around for 10 years at least. Yeah. How could somebody...
It happens. It happens constantly.
This thing.
That's right. Just be aware. Like us on Facebook, because we try to keep you informed.
No, I think that's a great tip.
That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, Mike, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week on Portsmouth This Week. Thank you very much.